Hi everyone, welcome back, and we're about to jump into the sixth match of this third last Singapore Open here. It's actually going to be the last match of today's Swiss rounds, and I think it's going to be between Martin Tan and Brian So. Both players that actually have been around here and there a bit. Martin actually doing very well at the Melbourne Internationals just a few months ago, finishing in the top 32, making day 2 basically. And Brian So's kind of been a face that's always been around, never really broke out either, but perhaps hoping to make his mark today. Yeah.
Martin has been consistently practicing very hard for the upcoming Worlds, the Worlds Championship in later in the year, and Brian So is right now, I think he's serving in NS, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I believe so. Probably not hoping for a Worlds invitation, but nevertheless, that's rarely any reason to not give it your all in these tournaments, which are as much a matter of prestige as the World Championships, really. Martin himself probably doesn't really have much of a reason to win this either. I don't think the CP he could potentially earn is going to make significant enough a difference in pushing him up the CP rankings, if I'm not mistaken. So,
yeah,
not quite sure what they're going to, how motivated these two players are, but nonetheless, they're both good friends, I believe. So, probably going to be wanting to give both of them are probably going to be wanting to give their all just to allow for this good match on stream. No real idea what Martin's running right now, because he has been switching his teams around a lot in the last few weeks.
Testing out a lot of variation of teams out there, and to find a a team that he feels for it, because after the Melbourne International, he hasn't been like very comfortable with the team that he's tested out, and then perhaps this one will be the one that he finally settles on before the Worlds.
He did seem very affectionate towards the Driftblim Lele combination going into Melbourne, and it did really carry him very far in that tournament. Though with its rising popularity thanks to Zoe Low and Aaron Zhang's successes in their respective tournaments overseas, it's a lot harder for him to play. And I think he switched around to a more bulky, defensively built team, similar to what Nick Navarre used in Melbourne Internationals as well. But ever since then, we haven't really seen what Martin's been packing, and quite eager to see it, because Martin's a very flexible player. Most of the time, whatever team he chooses to run, whatever style he chooses to play, he makes the most of it, and it's very entertaining to watch. Pretty much all the time, really.
Yeah.
And Brian So, I mean, we haven't seen him around for a while, so really excited to see what he's switched up to as well.
And right now we'll be moving into the team preview of both teams, with Martin carrying the Tapu Lele, Tapu Fini, Arcanine, Mark, Porygon 2, and the Garchomp.
Well, on Brian So's side, we see Tapu Lele, Tapu Koko, Araquanid, Togedemaru, Porygon Z, and Arcanine.
Well, Martin here has definitely switched out the team that he's been using after the Malaysia regionals with Gigalith. He swapped out the Gigalith for Mark, and he swapped out a few of his other Pokemon like the Tapu Koko for the Garchomp, and yeah.
I must say that both teams here are very interesting despite looking rather standard at first glance. It's not uncommon to hear of teams with 2 Tapus on them, but on Martin's side we see Tapu Fini and Tapu Lele. That's not exactly the combination we're used to. Most of the time you see a combination of Tapu Koko and Tapu Lele or Tapu Fini, not both at the same time, since they both kind of feel the same speed here, so it's a bit awkward to play around with, I think. Martin probably feels a bit more confident running with that for whatever reason.
And we'll be moving into the first set of this final round in our Singapore Open 3 at Jurong Spring Community Club.
I think it's just worth mentioning too that Brian So actually does have Togedemaru and Porygon Z on his side, both of which are fairly strong anti-meta picks, especially at ripping apart very defensively built teams that pivot around Tapu Fini or Lele, so should be interesting to see.
Porygon Z does have the option with the Normalium Z to use Z conversion, or to just Breakneck Blitz into either of Martin's Pokemon, and easily taking them out, as adaptability Breakneck Blitz, Hyper Beam Breakneck Blitz isn't something you should take lightly of.
Yeah, which actually puts Brian So in a pretty good position right now. He can Breakneck Blitz both Arcanine and Mark to threaten the KO, and depending on how Martin's Arcanine is trained, Brian's Porygon Z could be faster as well, since I believe their base speeds aren't really so far apart, and most Arcanines these days tend to be a bit slow. Martin clearly recognizing that, going for the Protect right now with Mark. We'll have to see what happens here. We do see a Z move. Is it going to be that Breakneck Blitz, I think?
It will be
the normal Z move for sure, but have to wait a while to see exactly what we're getting. Boosted its stats, so we're going to see a Z conversion here. Interesting, of course. It's probably important for Martin to take note now what type Porygon Z changes into. We're going to see transform into the Ghost type.
So it must be carrying the Shadow Ball, and Tapu Lele goes for the Psych Up onto it.
I wasn't expecting to see that, man. That's actually pretty good for Brian right now, despite the Snow, since that gives both Tapu Lele and Porygon Z a
booster
single stage boost to
defensively.
all its stats
Yeah.
except special attack. But let's face it, Porygon Z and Tapu Lele have plenty of special attack naturally, especially with Psychic Terrain still up. So Martin must really be feeling the
yeah.
pressure right now.
However, it is also to note that Snarl actually did super effective damage to Porygon Z because it convert into a ghost type and then it's taking more than it should.
And I guess Porygon Z being a ghost type is probably something Martin can feel a bit reassured about since it restricts the amount of damage he's going to be able to do to his Muk right now. Shadow Ball fired off into Arcanine, obviously not going to Muk because that wouldn't do too much. And
of course the Psychic will go into the Arcanine and not the Dark type Muk.
Very good protect there from
a gunk shot will be coming out into the Tapu Lele with a +1 defense, and it does survive thanks to the Psych Up that it got, and it is revealed to be
a Pinch Berry Tapu Lele, I think?
Yes, it will be a Pinch Berry Tapu Lele. Which this is Brian Soul is still not out of the game yet, and that now that Arcanine has already burned the protect, what will Martin do now?
Yeah, I think Martin played that last turn really well. He acknowledged that I guess Brian Soul couldn't do much to Muk and didn't exactly want and Brian Soul wouldn't exactly want to switch out either of his Pokemon to change that position because that would involve losing their stat boost. So he could very safely protect his Arcanine and go for an attack with his Muk and very, very nearly completely swung things around. If Poison Jab, if Gunk Shot had done a little bit more of damage, this would be a very different game already right now. Still not bad position for him though.
Shadow Ball does come out into the Arcanine slot at neutral special attack, and the Psychic will finish off the Arcanine.
Snow definitely cut. Not enough.
Not enough. Showing that Martin's Arcanine is actually a very special defensively one.
And I was about to write off Snow as just barely helping the changelings, but
it helps a lot.
Yeah.
And now both Porygon Z and Tapu Lele will be at -1 special attack.
And I think Martin's Muk is going to be able to fire off an attack very, very easily here. Knock off into Porygon Z,
that
not
actually
quite
did
enough.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Considering that it technically doesn't have an item and is at +1 special defense.
Yeah, totally.
+1 defense.
Told you, Alan, you've been overestimating Porygon Z's bulk the whole day, really.
I suppose.
Yeah. Although Martin has played really well so far, I just get this feeling that he hasn't actually achieved enough yet, given what the kind of power Brian has on his side actually. Not anymore, given that both Pokemon have been snout twice, but still. Yeah, we're gonna see Ice Beam come out. I think this is gonna go into Muk, and I don't think that will actually do too much.
You want to fish for freeze.
Which he doesn't get, fortunately for Martin. So we're gonna see Muk choose to pick off something again this turn, and
will it be the Gunk Shot onto the Tapu Lele? It will be the Gunk Shot onto the Tapu Lele, finishing it off.
Fortunate that it lands, and I guess he had to go for Gunk Shot at that range. Not sure. I don't think Knockoff would have done the job.
Or either that he will just knock off the Porygon Z and finish it off. But obviously the more threatening thing on the field will be the Tapu Lele because of the Psychic Terrain.
Yeah, I guess Martin recognized that Tapu Lele would be the more threatening thing technically, since should Porygon Z switch out, it would lose its change type and wouldn't really exert as much offensive pressure as Tapu Lele would.
However, right now Tapu Koko does have the option to psych up the Porygon Z stat change, but would you want to copy the -1 special attack?
That's true, especially since going for a Psych Up would actually give Martin another chance to press now, and
it will bring you to -2.
Yeah, which is definitely what he should be going for here, since now it would pick up Porygon Z, but
however,
we see him switch out instead.
Yeah.
Tapu Lele gonna come in, reset the terrain, neutering Tapu Koko's electric type moves, putting Muk in an even better position than before.
Ice Beam does come out again onto the Muk stop. Perhaps Brian really want to fish for a freeze, and he does get the freeze on the second. On the second Ice Beam.
Fortunate for Martin there, but not totally out of the game yet, since he could just thaw out any second. Tapu Koko gonna go for Thunderbolt into Tapu Lele, not doing much thanks to the terrain.
Yeah. But however, Muk is frozen solid.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Martin there. Muk looked poised to take the entire game from here at this point, really, with the pressure its Gunk Shot provided, but Martin not able to capitalize on that anymore thanks to the really unfortunate freeze there.
However, Martin's Tapu Lele might be carrying Choice Scarf to fire off Psychics.
Yeah. And you actually kind of wonder whether Martin might have Flamethrower on his Muk, since that is a possibility. That would thaw him out immediately should he choose to go for that. Flamethrower should pick up Porygon. Oh right, sorry, yeah. Flamethrower doesn't thaw out.
Yeah, but however Muk does thaw and knocks off the Porygon Z. Martin recognizes that Tapu Koko may just psych up if he wants to.
Yeah, and I stand corrected earlier on my earlier point about Flamethrower thawing a Pokemon out. I believe only moves like Scowl do that. Flamethrower has to be targeted at a frozen target to cause any chance of thawing it out. And
Alchronet just comes in for Brian here. However, and Garchomp does come out here for Martin. fairly
Pretty good position for
Yeah,
Martin
for
still.
Martin
He
here.
still has Arcanine alive, which he can probably afford to sacrifice at this point.
Mm.
Switching an Arcanine would definitely, I think, would protect Muk this turn, since Araquanid isn't going to be able to fire off a Hydro Vortex, at worst a Liquidation, which isn't going to take out Muk after an Intimidate at that range. And Arcanine isn't really doing much for for Martin's team anymore.
Besides snarling the
Yeah.
Tapu Koko.
But being
Yeah.
able to bring in Arcanine to the Garchomp slot and allowing Muk to get a Gunk shot off comfortably is probably what Martin wants now.
Yep.
Not this turn though, as he chooses to leave Garchomp in. And is he going for a Tectonic Rage?
Yes.
Yep, looks like it, and probably going to Tapu Koko here. No reason to target a Araquanid at all. And I don't think that'll be enough to pick it off at this point. Tapu Koko is still too healthy for that, right?
Tapu Koko Tapu Koko is still at full HP, and the damage will be reduced to only 25%, barring a critical hit, which
Yep. Still a lot of damage, but not quite enough. I guess if Martin actually has Poison Jab as well, that would be a good play for him.
however, Arcanine does hold the Iron Ball and not the Z Crystal.
It's good news for Martin, since that
Yeah.
means its damage output, its potential damage output in the following games is significantly
Reduced.
less threatening. And I don't really think that influences that's really beneficial to Brian at all in this game, since he doesn't have a Snorlax, since Martin doesn't have a Snorlax, and Snorlax and Gigalith are really the only reasons why anybody runs Iron Ball or Araquanid. Yeah, to get the jump of them in Trick Room.
And right now, Martin can can safely kill the Tapu Koko with Muk.
Not sure why he's not bringing in Arcanine really, but at the same time I guess he's in a comfortable enough position too.
And Martin proving to be very lucky.
Yeah.
He's hitting all of his gun shots.
He trusts his Gunk Shot
Yep.
enough to play a bit more riskily, I guess you
mean,
could say.
I would say that he believes in the toss, but this is Muk, so I guess he believes in the gunk.
But now actually he's forced to bring in Arcanine into Araquanid, and Garchomp is actually taking quite a lot of damage here. I hope Martin's Arcanine has Wild Charge, because if not, this might actually still be trouble for him.
Or either that, he can just Rock Slide.
Yeah, you have to hope that he either has Rock Slide or Wild Charge. If it's possible that he doesn't have either, and if he doesn't, things might get a bit hairy for him here.
Especially Arcanine does have the Water Bubble ability that halves fire damage.
Yeah, we are going to see Araquanid protect here. I guess Brian wanting to
Scouting-
just figure out exactly what Martin has up his sleeve here. We do see
Account-
Rock Slide
Rock
coming
Slide?
off, and are we going to see a Wild Charge as well to rub salt into that wound?
Nope,
No.
it will be a Flare Blitz. Perhaps Martin, maybe he does have the Wild Charge, but he just want to preserve information here.
Possibly. Rock
this-
Slide will be enough to finish
yeah.
things off at this point.
And
Yes.
Preserving information here is good, as it will make Brian nervous, and that even though this is a location where Ran Champ Gei Kiang, I don't think this is a very Gei Kiang play.
Well, regardless, Brian so chose to forfeit. Not sure why you would do that at that point, since it did technically create another opening for Martin to perhaps reveal a bit more information should he get a bit too ambitious there. But regardless, we're going to be moving on to a second game where Brian So is probably going to have to try and rethink his strategy and find some way to come back, since his initial strategy of just going for conversion and sacking up his boost was disrupted by the fact that Martin had Snarl on his Arcanine.
Yeah, and also that the Muk, there was a Muk on the field, which normally when you run this kind of Porygon Z, you would like Shadow Ball is one of the few moves that Porygon Z gets that hits everything for neutral, and that it doesn't like. However, things such as Muk has the Dark type to resist it, really just stops Porygon Z in its tracks even when it chooses to convert. However, it still stands that he does still have the Z Breakneck Blitz that can one shot take out Muk. So perhaps Brian will want to show us.
Interestingly enough, though, we haven't actually seen the normal type attack from Porygon Z, so small possibility there that he might not actually have Breakneck Blitz. But regardless, if I were Brian, I guess I really would be wishing right now that I had Thunderbolt or in the first slot of my Porygon Z's moveset, so I could get off convert to the electric type rather.
Perhaps, but he does have Togedemaru.
Yeah, so that's probably what he's going for
yeah.
here. And interesting to see that he did bring Togedemaru. As we mentioned earlier, Togedemaru tends to be a pretty interesting disruptive choice for teams to help fight against the more standard teams like Martin's. Although without the Tapu Koko on Martin's side, Togedemaru isn't exactly redirecting too much. Its main asset right here is the fake out pressure it provides.
And I guess the Zing Zap onto the Tapu Fini, which can hit for super effective damage and the flinch.
Yeah, the dreadful flinch chance, of course. I guess if Martin has Tapu Lele here, he might want to switch it in at some point just to kind of block the fake out. But at the same time, not sure what Tapu Lele really brings to the field, since Porygon Z is has shown that it's gonna Z convert into the Ghost type. Brian clearly here not wanting to risk Tapu Lele coming in and going for a Zing Zap onto Tapu Fini instead.
Here we
Doing quite
see
a healthy amount of damage,
yeah.
I believe.
like about 50%
I
actually.
think it was slightly more than that, which is a bit more than what I would usually expect.
And then
We've been seeing frailer Tapu Finis the whole of today so far, so
is the Z conversion.
gonna convert to the Ghost
Ghost
type
type.
now, but we saw that Martin didn't protect his Muk this time, so knockoff is gonna come off, and that's gonna do quite a lot to Porygon Z.
However, unfortunately for Martin, he does get a flinch on the Zing Zap.
Yeah, tough spot for him. I believe that if he did go for either Muddy Water or Moonblast, he would have done even more damage to Porygon Z, which would be quite significant here.
Yeah, and Martin is forced to play defensively right now to conserve his Tapu Fini.
Yeah, but Muk pretty much has free reign as well, save for the potential flinch from Zing Zap.
Which
Since
is
Porygon Z is not going to be taking out Muk anytime soon, and hey, Misty Terrain's up too, so he can't even be frozen this time.
Togedemaru does switches out into the Tapu Koko, resetting the terrain.
Introducing that possibility for the freeze though,
again.
unfortunately. I think we're going to see Martin retreat Tapu Fini too.
So
No, actually, and Brian going for a protect with Porygon Z instead. Not what I was expecting to see. And Tapu Fini's going to go for the haze.
Martin!
Quite surprised we didn't actually see that in game 1, given how obvious the Z conversion strategy was. But
perhaps that was his plan all along. It's like if he's able to secure game 1, he will bring out his secret tag.
working out really well for him here, and while firing off a knockoff into the Togedemaru slot, reveals that Brian So was holding a pinch berry on his Tapu Koko as well.
Perhaps it's a more bulky variant of Tapu Koko. Maybe what if it's like the Matthew Hui's kind of Tapu Koko with the roost set.
Yeah, probably a more defensive build to capitalize off the potential Psych Up defensive boost that he can steal from Porygon Z. But with haze done rather, Tapu Fini's done, it's out of there. Martin brings in Tapu Lele here, resets the terrain to Tapu Koko's disadvantage, and I think Muk's just gonna slowly pick off most of Brian's Soul's Pokemon at this range.
Ice Beam does come in, will it get a freeze again onto the mark?
Fortunately no, which means Martin's gonna be able to pick off something hopefully, either with knockoff onto Porygon Z or Gung Shot into Tapu Koko.
Yep.
Knockoff is his move of choice, and that's gonna take out Porygon Z here.
And thus removing the poor ducting.
Removes the chance of getting frozen though, which is probably what Martin prioritizes at this stage.
Special attack drops from Shadow Ball.
And in fact, now that he brings in Togedemaru,
what can Tapu Koko do?
Brian So might not be able to do anything with Tapu Koko at all. We've seen it has a Psych Up, so it might not actually have space for discharge. It has Thunderbolt, probably Dazzling Gleam. Tapu Koko might just be pinned down here, right here and now, by its own Togedemaru.
Tapu Koko just get destroyed by under Psychic Terrain.
So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to find out whether that would happen, but Togedemaru revealing the Nuzzle. Not exactly a common move since Togedemaru rarely has space on its moveset to find to use Nuzzle.
And knockoff does comes off and knocks off the Focus Sash.
This point though, Brian So seems so far behind right now that
that I don't think he's able
it's hard to imagine Martin losing this, especially since his last mon is Tapu Lele, another mon that really hates fighting Muk.
Yes, which is very unfortunate for Brian So.
Martin could just safely bring in Tapu Fini right now, reset the terrain, and set Misty Terrain in its place, which would prevent Nuzzle from actually doing anything to Muk and reducing Tapu Lele's damage output again, even though it doesn't really matter that much at this point. But of course he doesn't, and instead just chooses to attack straight with Muk, I guess.
Yep. And Psychic does go out onto the Togedemaru, clearly finishing it off, even though it's resisted, and Muk can clearly pick up Tapu Lele with a Gung Shot. A very well played set by Martin here.
Martin unfortunately not missing it. Unfortunately or fortunately hitting his Gung Shot again.
I would say fortunately. Man.
Fortunately for him, but unfortunately from my part as well, because can't help but feel he's playing a bit unnecessarily ambitious here.
Perhaps doesn't have Poison Jet. You never know.
But hey, I guess he has enough confidence in his Muk at this point, and he's more than happy to just go for Gung Shot to steal the big win home.
Yep, and very convincingly win a 2-0 here by Martin here.
Yeah, I guess Brian So's unique team wasn't really enough to overwhelm Martin's slightly more conventional build, and Martin's combination of Tapu Lele and Tapu Fini actually proving really useful here in this match. Being able to switch between the offensive Psychic Terrain and the defensive Misty Terrain, not something you see often, but definitely paid off here since it gave him a few situations where he could ensure that his Muk would not be frozen. And of course, Misty Terrain being there to neuter his opponent's Tapu Lele also was very significant.
And Tapu Koko for like Electric Terrain, that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I would say that Martin also got a good matchup against Brian, as Brian doesn't really have anything that is big enough to kill Muk away. Like, he has 2 Tapus which are both fairy types. He has what's that? Porygon Z with the Ghost Z move, which is resisted because of the Dark type. I mean, potentially you will want to Z Farium into the Mug for the clean KO, but which most likely is not possible because opposing Arcanine at might will intimidate you, and at -1 you won't be able to pick up the KO, and it will just heal back with the berry.
Yeah, at this point Martin's team really gave him a huge advantage to the point where he could just leave Muk there, rotate in between with Tapu Lele and Tapu Fini to reset the terrains to his advantage whenever he deemed necessary, and slowly whittle down his Brian's team with Muk, thanks to the incredible super effective coverage Muk provides with its poison and dark type same type attack boost moves.
Yep.
I think we'll be able to jump into a quick interview with Martin just before we close off today's stream. So stay tuned, and we're looking forward to that.
And we are back with our round 6 Swiss winner, Martin Tan.
Thank you.
So Martin, you have been changing your teams quite around recently, and that I know that you have been using the Gigalith team for quite a while, and then what makes you finally changed it into the current Mark team?
I felt that Mark is quite a good meta call in a sense because I mean with all the tapus and around, they don't really have a very solid answer to Mark because there's decreasing Garchomp usage because there's a lot of direct counters to Garchomp. So I felt that it was a safe call to use Mark instead, and felt that it was time to try something new. Vini Lele inspiration was more from Luke Curtail's team, but I made quite a bit of changes, like for example the Gang Shot. Yeah, so
Yes, yes. I would say that what makes you want to choose Gang Shot over Poison Jab? As in, like, yes, Gang Shot does provide that very powerful killing move on almost all the Tapu actually, and that, but it has that very shaky chance or shaky accuracy, and then while Poison Jab is, you know, like it can't really KO Tapus, but it's 100% accuracy. So what are your thoughts on that?
So my take is that because most of the tapus nowadays are built to survive Poison Jet from say Pheromosa, say Garchomp for example. I mean Pheromosa being the hardest hitting, can be the hardest hitting attacker, even non-step. So they already would have EV'd for that rather than for Mark. So I felt that in order to snowball the momentum, I feel using Gang Shot, if I can get a 1-hit KO, it'll be good. If I miss, you'll still be an equivalent of a 2-hit KO. So that was my rationale behind using Gang Shot. Because if once I get a 1-hit KO, I can snowball the momentum from there once I get rid of the Tapu, and terrain control could be mine, and things like that. Yeah.
And then I would like to say that your this team, I feel that it's very good, and that like what will you do in the face of other Garchomps?
I felt that in fact if you could see the speed here, the Lele was scarf, so it can, that's my primary answer. Apart from that, P2, and by Vini, yeah, and by Tapu Fini using Moonblast can 2-hit KO most of the Garchomps out there. And then I EV'd it quite physically bulky in order to be able to take attack rage, heal back, and Moonblast. So that next turn it wouldn't be able to KO by Poison Jab and all that. So that's another. I wouldn't say it's a very reliable one, but my main primary addresses for Garchomp would be the Lele and the P2.
I see.
Yeah.
Clearly your team is very well thought out, and I really wish you all the best.
Sure, thanks.
And I hope you get the top 8 today.
Sure, thanks. Just want to give a shout out to Joel, Kevin, Ismat who built the team with me. And thanks to you too for all the help
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, always glad to help one of my fellow community members, you know. Yeah, and that will be all for today's stream, and we'll see you tomorrow for Top Cut. Stay tuned.